Gina in Minnesota. You're on the line.
Oh, yeah. Don't you know that's me?
I know it.
Hi, Gina.
I know it.
I forgot to turn my other phone off there. Sorry about that.
Yeah. Kill the landline. It's time to just let it go.
Right.
Stop paying that extra bill. You don't need a landline. I'm just kidding. I don't know you.
Anyway.
How is it having the greatest governor in all of the United States?
Oh my God. Are you kidding me? Nobody likes that guy.
Are you joking?
Nobody likes that guy. What?
Clearly, lots of people like that guy. He won re-election only like 2 years ago. Maybe you're making a joke.
You know why? Because it was
cool.
a rigged election in Minnesota. We have a little bit of a problem there in Minneapolis, and I can.
Gina, you are joking, right? Gina, you are.
No,
kidding,
actually,
right?
I'm not.
Okay.
Do you think that the presidential election was rigged?
Do I think that it was rigged? I think that I think that you would be a fool to believe that something didn't happen that was awry.
Great. I think you would be a fool to believe that anything out of the norm and that some level of fraud that isn't usual and adjusted for and capable of actually changing the election. I think you would be a fool to believe a level of fraud happened in the election that would have changed the election. So now that's my belief and your belief. How do we determine which one of us? How do we determine which one of the two of us is correct? Whether or not there was widespread fraud that changed the election or not?
We could go to paper ballot.
That's not what I asked. What did I ask?
That's how we could find out.
How could you and I figure out? No. How could you and I figure out which of the two of us is correct, has the right opinion on whether or not the presidential election was stolen and whether a person was foolish for believing one way or the other?
At the paper ballot.
We can?
Do a
You've
recount.
got access?
Yeah.
You have access?
You actually can. Do you not know these things? Are you not aware of your rights as an American citizen?
Gina, you have access to the paper ballots and can go and do a recount, and that's where the proof that you're correct is, and you haven't done it and shared it with the Trump administration?
I think you're not going to like my answer, and the answer is
I think you're not going to listen to
anybody
any of the questions.
Anybody can actually challenge that. You understand that, right? Okay, so that's
so why
what
didn't
I'm saying.
you?
So you actually saying, okay, so let me finish my sentence.
No.
Okay, I can sign up to be a poll watcher. I can do all of those things, get qualified.
Hey, what was my question?
Yes, you can. You have the ability to do so. So
what was my question?
Am right.
Nope, you're not correct.
So the reason that I called, should we go to that?
Because you're doing so poorly on this topic? I suppose we can, but I just want to know if it's so easy and the proof is right there, even though your claim has been disproved in so many courts, in so many investigations, and in fact, Donald Trump was making the same claims in 2020 or 2016, hired a committee of people with the presidential authority to investigate in 2016, where he was guaranteeing they were going to find somewhere between 3 and 5 million illegal ballots were cast, mostly in California. And that team came back and said, no, actually, when you adjust for the fraud that was there was a few dozen, and actually it was in the opposite direction. The few dozen in cases of fraud actually benefited Trump, didn't take away. And that's from his own investigation team. Or you look at, say, the cyber ninjas in Arizona, which were also ran by an incredibly biased for Trump team of people. And they did their investigation. And once again, after an adjustment, it changed less than 100 votes once you got rid of mistakes and fraud.
Am I ever going to get a chance to talk?
And it took votes away. It literally, the fraud before and the mistakes before had benefited Trump. So yeah, when the two of us are talking about the evidence that exists, interesting that you talked about it and the evidence that, well, you made a claim, Gina. I know that it's embarrassing you to hear your whole thing completely dismantled.
Yes, sir, it is embarrassing.
We can move on to your other bullshit.
Yes, you are right.
I know it is. I know it is. And I know this tactic of trying to divert from it. You were incorrect, shown to be incorrect.
Yes, I'm so incorrect.
And now you are floundering. So what next thing would you like to present that you'll almost certainly be incorrect about?
That was at hand, not to
Great.
talk
You're
about
going to explain
politics.
why we should. Great. Then I wish you wouldn't have made a claim about politics. What's your proof of God existing?
Wow. This is
Gina.
I'm just shocked at
Gina. I can mute you if you want. I am going to just say one thing, and then I'm very eager to actually hear your argument for God. I'm just going to point out that this conversation got started because we made a comment about Tim Walz, and then you made a claim that he's not liked, and it went back and forth. So there was no nobody was trying to force anything. It naturally went that way in the conversation, and it's okay. Hey, Gina, please don't interrupt me in the middle of a sentence. We were having a natural conversation. That's where it went. It's okay. We don't have to continue talking about that. Now we can talk about what God you believe in and why.
Well, actually, that's not why I called either. But is that what you want me to answer that question for you?
I thought you only wanted to talk about that which you called about. So what did you call about?
The topic on your live stream says, should we believe in God? My answer is yes, we should.
Why?
Okay. So my follow-up question is which God and why?
Okay. Which God and why? There's only one God. And
which God is
pretty
that?
Much
a Muslim would tell me the same
there's
thing.
only one God. So one God.
Oh, Allah. Okay.
Which
cool.
one is the one God?
The one living God. There's only one. Okay.
And which one is that?
It's not going to change.
Which one is it, Gina?
No other word for it.
Gina.
There's one God.
Great. You're saying that the Muslim God is the one living God. Great. Okay, since you won't answer, we're going to assume that Gina is here to advocate for Allah, the Muslim God.
The Christian God. How about
tell me
Jesus?
the deal.
How about Jesus?
Great.
You like that? Jesus? Is that
great?
better?
Yes, we do like honest answers, dipshit.
Condescending is okay.
Just answer the question honestly.
Okay.
I mean to condescend to the dishonest.
But you're not letting me talk.
No, you didn't.
Talking the entire time. You are not letting me answer anything.
Gina, can you spell the word irony?
Okay, so that was, I had a follow-up question for Gina. I'm actually just interested in asking.
Every time I talk, you guys start talking. That's the key here. Every time I start talking, you guys start talking. Faster.
Okay, I'm muting you for just a second. So the question was just which God and why, because it helps me to know, it makes the conversation go faster. So it's the Christian God. Cool. I can understand that. The conversation should go better because I have some familiarity with that God. Now I would like to know why we should believe in the Christian God. And now you're unmuted.
Okay. I'd like to answer this question uninterrupted.
No. You can't. If I feel like interrupting, it's my show and I will interrupt. But I will give you an attempt to begin. And if you don't go anywhere dishonest with it, like you have in the past, I probably won't interrupt you.
Okay. Well, so my answer is, why should you? Because since the beginning of time, all documented history, all history that has been documented refers to the time of the angels coming down. And, you're going to interrupt me. I'm not.
Nobody was interrupting you. Fucking Christ.
Right. I'm sorry. I was paying attention to something. Okay, I apologize for that. So I'm getting some other sound on my thing, so I apologize. You probably can't hear it, but I can hear it in my thing, and so that is my fault. So basically, what I was saying is that it's always been documented in all of our history in every nation that there were angels that came down to earth and mated with humans, right? Let's just say that all history does say that. And you're aware of that, correct? And it's been documented by several historians.
No, all history and all historians do not.
You know who Josephus is?
Excuse me.
Okay.
How could all history refer to Josephus if over 100,000 years of human history happened prior to Josephus? How is that the point of reference you're going to use? There is the reason that I was using that history. I'm not done. My God, the person who doesn't want to be interrupted sure likes to interrupt. There is no concept that all history and all historians anchor all of time to angels coming, and I believe the phrase you used was, and made it with humans. That is not true. Now you may speak.
Okay. So you're saying that it's not true that it hasn't been documented since basically the beginning of our history, and including in the Dead Sea Scrolls.
The Dead Sea Scrolls is not the beginning of our history.
Well, that's not necessarily completely true. There is a lot of history in those scrolls. How do you know? And it's not the beginning of our history. Not, okay, so that's a portion of the history, okay? And it is accepted worldwide as
I don't think
historical.
I'm just curious. I'm just curious. Can we get to the part where? Hey, Gina, can we get to the part? So you believe that all of history documents this inbreeding of angels and people and whatever. Gina, I'm in the middle of talking. How do we get to the part where thus we should believe in the Christian God?
Okay, that's. Let me finish what I'm trying to explain. Go ahead.
You're wasting time.
I keep getting interrupted by you guys.
No, you didn't. Okay. You asked for confirmation that we understood and agreed. You fucking liar. Now go.
I'm not lying because you keep constantly interrupting me by constantly reprimanding me for interrupting you. So fucking stop.
IRONY. Did you just complain about being interrupted while you were interrupting? Gina, you really just did that?
You know what? You can't have a conversation. And the reason Christians don't come here and can't defend
Christians don't come here? Aren't you Christian number 6? Aren't you Christian number 6? Oh no, Christians should never come here. Stay away from the website, guys. Don't come here. Hey,
Gina,
this is not the place you're going to find God.
Gina,
I'm muted,
I've been
Gina.
Listening. I asked her questions and she prefaces everything with like a 30-second long thing instead of just answering my question. We could have kept the conversation going back and forth. So
Gina's currently muted, but I actually want to affirm something she said, but I will have to extend it. If your standard of evidence and ability to engage in a conversation is as dishonest and shitty as Gina's, that Christian, should not call in. If you are capable of being honest, if you're capable of being concise, if you're capable of actually offering truths, you should call in. We'll have a beautiful and lovely conversation. If you are going to interrupt a lot, but then complain about being interrupted, and then later complain that you were interrupted while interrupting, you shouldn't call in. If you are any more than 40% like Gina, I'd say you shouldn't call in. Anyway, let's unmute Gina, who has decided to call in to a show and say, this is why no Christians call in. Oh, it's my last chance, Gina.
I'm sorry to tell you
Gina,
that.
this is my last chance,
God
or
is
what?
Right here. Where there are two or more gathered in his name, he's right there. And I'm here. And you know it, and you believe it.
No, I don't. I don't believe it. In fact, I'm going to go so far as to say I am certain the Christian God doesn't exist, Gina.
You did hear him.
Hey, Gina.
It's an inner voice. It is, and it's in your heart.
Gina,
so,
you're a
rejecting
joke.
him like you are, it's unfortunate for you.
You sound like a cat lady
you unmuted
from
me.
The Simpsons. Yeah, I did.
You unmuted
I
me
told
for
you.
the entirety of the world to hear me.
And now I'm gonna mute you again because you can't shut the fuck up for a moment. Gina, I literally said I was unmuting you. And you didn't hear it because you can't even listen when we are forcing you to be silent to listen. You don't listen when we're talking, and you don't listen when you're muted. There's not an instance in when you are muted. You are actually listening. You just don't listen. You look for keywords. You try to Kellyanne Conway that motherfucker. And then you tell me it's my last chance. Your God can lick my asshole. It's asshole flavored, except for he can't. You know why? He'd have to exist. But I would consent if he did, but he doesn't. Boy. So we'll never get the opportunity. I'm not afraid of your God. I'm not afraid of your assertions that you actually know deep down inside. You actually know. I will go so far as to say I know the Christian God doesn't exist. Whether I know all gods don't exist. Go ahead.
If Gina's God knew anything about me, they would know that I would like some evidence. And then they maybe would convince Gina to answer honestly and engage in a conversation. The most likely scenario that I could be convinced of a God would be somebody calling in and actually having something substantial to offer that makes me go look something up and be like, wow, it was totally wrong, which is what happened to make me go from being a Christian to not a Christian. But instead, we get Gina just going off on an emotional rant, which is really frustrating.
Hey, Gina, I'm about to unmute you. I just got a text from a Christian friend who said, please know for the love of God that Gina does not speak for me. What do you have to say to your Christian compatriot there? I just unmuted you. I just unmuted you. Do you never wait? So you never stopped talking the whole? Okay, then I don't give a fuck. We'll just drop you. She literally didn't stop talking at any point, and she thinks that this is going to go down as people are going to agree. Jimmy was the rude one. She called in, and I made a joke about how's it having the best governor ever, and then she made a claim about the election, and then got mad when that claim was investigated, and then got mad. I didn't want to talk about that. Well, you shouldn't have made that dumb claim. You should have said, I don't like him, but that's not what I'm here for. You can say whatever, but the fact of the matter is you got responses to the claim you made. And then you complained about the rudeness and refused to ever shut the fuck up when it wasn't your turn to talk, including when we tried to force the turn taking. All I know is at the end of the day that I hear calls like that. And the only thing I am left with is that Jimmy Snow has a podcast starting September 6th.
Oh, that's impressive. The amount, it should be like a drinking game for how many times you got that in this
They'd all
episode.
die. We'd kill
That's true. That's true.
Hey there, Eric. Noting that anyone watching that clip makes atrociously poor life decisions, where should they send their protection money to prevent further damage?
All protection money should be sent to patreon.com/calltheline, or else we will break your kneecaps.
Okay, we can't say that. I think we can't say that.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Hit like and subscribe.